Committee on Education and Labor will come to order.
Today we're here to discuss our responsibility to fulfill the promise of educational equity, which was ordered 65 years ago in the Supreme Court's landmark decision in Brown v. Board of Education. Today's inequity in education, housing, economic opportunity, criminal justice, and other areas are the legacy of our history. Rather than seeking to forget the wounds of the past, we must confront them, and the federal government actually contributed to racial segregation and inequity, and so the federal government must be part of the solution.
The problem I see is that policymakers have lost what Brown v. Board means. Its emphasis on data-driven research, its recognition that separate can never be equal, its challenge to policymakers to ensure that all Americans, regardless of race, have equal access to one of our greatest civil rights, education, a right that W.D. Du Bois talked about when he said of all the civil rights for which the world has struggled and fought for 500 years, the right to learn is undoubtedly the most fundamental.
We know that in admissions policies, we know in disciplinary policies, we know that when you have a propensity to suspend certain types of students disproportionately or to identify disproportionate numbers of students for specialized programs like students with disabilities, etc., you have to look at the protocols and systems that generate those kinds of results. The role of the federal government is critical in keeping us accountable, keeping states accountable. This can't be a one-by-one effort. It has to be a systemic effort, and the role of the federal government is critically important.
Today, this Department of Education is openly hostile to civil rights enforcement and school integration, and actively advancing policy that will continue to push some students forward while leaving so many behind. In a hearing before this committee, Secretary DeVos hailed school choice as the silver bullet, ignoring the fact that choice often leads to more disparity, more segregation, more inequity.
The question we face is, where will we be 50 years from now in terms of looking at Brown? We've come 65 years so far, ups and downs, peaks and valleys, and we have about 35 more years to go for the 100th anniversary of Brown. Unless we come together to look at the question of race, particularly in education, but in housing, in criminal justice, in all fields, we will never reach the equality that was set forth in Brown.